Layout. Right, let's get into it. So with the layout, sorry, I'm just in the mode. What we want to do is try and figure out how to structure HTML, CSS code to kind of display in a whole range of different layouts and how we would do this. So just thought I'd make like a header and a navigation, just focus on that bit, and then the rest of the website and how you would lay it out, whether you wanted stuff down like this and with the main content here or across the top. We can kind of get there later. So what we'll do then is we'll put like a header section with a navigation, just kind of show how you can lay those out and kind of play with those bits and pieces, and then yeah, we'll go from there and do the as a separate tutorial, just kind of really structuring major features, but you'll get the idea pretty quickly. So we'll probably say this is where goes, and I'll probably put a logo in, image, source, images, logo, there. Right, and then I'd have an unordered list class of nav, because I'll probably have an unordered list for my products or some description when I get around to doing that. That one, right. Okay. Say this is going to be a products. So, FAQ. Say contact. Right. So we'll have a quick look and see what that's doing, which is this. Okay. Let's describe what we want to do. So we basically want to put the company name in the logo roughly where they are, but probably pushed across a little bit. This logo up in this corner, and then put the navigation maybe just under it, just over here, and how we get these separate elements to lay out, and then go from there. So this kind of introduction will give you a bit of an idea. So let's just check that this is connected. Oops. Yep. Alright, and then let's get rid of the default spacing and a few other defaults, and we can then kind of begin chipping away at bits and pieces, and I'll also show you through CSS Tricks website. They've got some good info. Let me say text decoration none, because I can't be bothered with any underline links anywhere, and list style none, because I don't really want any bullet points on my unordered lists. Right, so this is here. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. So let's just get this in here so we can see where our elements are. So that's our header, that big blue section there, and then there's the H1, H2, H3. Oh, sorry, image. So the H1 there by default fills up a whole row because it's got a display type of block, and we really want things to be able to sit next to it, including this image down here. So we need to change the way it displays. So firstly, we can see that this is inside header, and this is where we're going to use the first get the display of flex. So flex will basically, what you do is you put it on the wrapping element. So you can see it's already gone strange now, and I'll kind of work with that. So that this one says flex, and then the things inside it receive the behavior. So if I look at the CSS grids, sorry, CSS Tricks website, CSS Trick website on flex. So when we have the container, which is that purple bit will be our header, these orange bits here, the items, those are, sorry, these are these three things here, and they naturally want to fill the whole row across. So that's kind of how why they're squashed up. That being said, I don't think I could get, you know, one heading, another heading, logo, because I really wanted heading 1, heading 2, logo. And you can choose whether they go from left to right, which is quite handy. You can also choose whether they go up and down. Now if it went down and I had 1, 2, and then it went to the next row up there to do my logo, that's exactly what I'm kind of wanting. And flex wrap also chooses whether they kind of keep wrapping around, which is basically what I described, but this is the horizontal version I want, down and then wrap up. And this here is where you get your elements to really lay out quite nicely. Right, so then I will go flex dash wrap. I don't want no wrap, I want wrap. I want flex direction. It's going to be column, so we're going up and down. And I just want traditional columns, not reverse, going the opposite way. So looking at that now, they've gone down the order. The reason why this won't want to try and push up here is because the header hasn't got a set height, so it won't have like an end to it. It'll just kind of grow as it needs to. And obviously this thing's massive, so I need to try and change that down. So header image, I'll just say width, I don't know, like 15%. See how that looks. That's a pretty nice size there, actually fit nicely. Right, and so let's put a height on the header then. Height, and maybe say like 120 pixels. You will need to use a fixed value because it's got infinite scroll if needed, and so yeah. Or you can use it based off the view height. So you could say maybe 10% of the view height of the window. Sorry, excuse me, yawning. Okay, so these are kind of doing that. I can see that the header's finishing a bit shorter, so I might say, let's make that 15% then. Right, so these are just kind of filling in there. I want these ones to be a bit longer, which will then push this all the way down here. So let's just squeeze this in here. Header h1, h1, comma, and header h2. I'm not going to get really carried away with the styling, but just more the layout is what I'm looking at. So width, well, if I know this is 15%, so it's not quite 20 for an 80, but I'm wanting to put some spacing as well. So I'll say 80% should hopefully be enough of what I want. You can see that's pushed it right down, that's there, that's there. I don't want it in that corner so much, so I'll kind of do some margin around there. So margin for the top, maybe 10 pixels. For the right hand side, which is where this thing is here, just push this up a bit because I think that's why it's done that. Yeah, it just got too long for that, that's why I was doing a row and having issues. Then what I want to do is say, okay, no spacing on this end, some spacing below these elements, and then a spacing on the right is really what I'm after. So on the right 0, on the bottom maybe 5 pixels, and then on the left I'm going to say like 5%. So there in the blue you can see where the spacing is, so I'll just get out of there. Yep, that looks nice, that's there. This image is kind of set up against the top of the header, it's not really, I want it more in the center. And I could potentially look to push it across a bit more. Oh, not really, because it's taken up most of that space. So I could shrink this down a bit if I wanted. It's come across more. And then I could make this one slightly bigger if I wanted. Actually, I preferred it smaller, to be fair. Alright, and I just want it to sit center. So to do that, margin auto, because it's trying to sit in the center of that box, it's kind of done that there because it knows it needs to sit inside this header container, so it's centered it that way. So then we can see our header section here. Go background color, just say normal grey, I'll say, so you can see it there. Yeah, it looks a bit strange, but anyway. Okay, and then we're going to work on the next one, which is the nav. So .nav, because it's a class, because it's a UL otherwise. Display flex. Let's see what that does. Right, there. Now, if I want it on this right hand side, fine. If I want it in the center, then I want it we'll kind of play with a little bit of that while we're going. Right, so let's just do .nav a, li a color white for the text, and then I'm going to say here background color black, just to give a bit of nice contrast. Right, okay, so that's what we got. I can then put a bit of height in there if I want. Height, I don't know, 40 pixels. Okay, so it's set against the top. I want it to kind of display middle. So we can see in here that these things are just filling the whole row because that's what Flex kind of wants to do, by default anyway. But if I look around here, okay, how do I get things to align? So there is things in here for justifying content that way. What about, forgetting this for start end, so center. So this is align items center. Now I would do it on the nav because it's the list item, so it's this. I would do it here on this because I want the items to inherit the display align item center. So align items center. Let's check if it's worked, which it has. Okay, so let's give these things kind of a width of some description. So width, I don't know, maybe let's try 10% because I want it to keep kind of tidy and small. Yep, we can see that they're on the left hand side. I might think that's okay. I might want it in the middle because it makes me twitch. Don't know. So okay, then the next thing is I want them on this right hand side. So let's look at this. So this is to do with more for the vertical up and down in their items. So if we're looking at here, then this is justify content. Well, flex start, flex end, center, space between, space around, space evenly. So let's go justify. So here we go. Justify content, space dash even. What's it? What did it say? Evenly. Oh, here you go, job done. And it means that as the website scales, it's all pretty good. And getting down this size here, things would want to change, but you can see it's got a lot of there. I might say end. What was it? Flex end. Sorry, my bad. Okay, I might want these centered. I might want to change these boxes. So to get the actual things centered of the list items, then I'd have to actually go to the list items and then go text align center. Let's just go there. Okay, I might want to shrink them up slightly. I might go 8%. Nice and tight. Okay, then dot nav a. You probably don't actually need to be that fussy, but I'd like to be. Color red. What I mean by not being that fussy is I could probably just drop this because it's the only a link inside the nav. So if I look at this, dot nav, only a link in there, so it should still get the same behavior. But when I had put the li in there, I was saying list items, li, a's, only those a's applying in there. So it doesn't really make a huge difference. It's probably a little bit quicker to type it this way. So there you go. That's it in terms of doing the layout, getting the flex and everything going, and being able to kind of play with this one here. But yeah, big one in terms of being able to figure out just how to get things spacing and kind of doing what you want to do. Is this, it's the flex wrap, but going to the CSS tricks, which I'll put for my students in their link. But this is just a really great visual, quick reference to it. I'm sure there's other little, slightly more detailed aspects. Align content. So this is purple's your parent, and then your which is your unordered list, and then your orange, which is all your list items, but it doesn't include what's inside those orange things. So obviously that's kind of where you have to kind of do that again. But you can see you can do a flex. You can do a flex within a flex kind of thing. Righto. So yeah, that's it.